Christine, would you like to kick it off?
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first committee meeting of the year. So it's going to be pretty eventful. I'm looking forward to what's ahead today. Just quick housekeeping items. You will be able to ask questions using the Q&A feature, so we highly encourage that. All questions will be addressed at the end. If there are any challenges, technical-wise or miscellaneous questions, go ahead and use the Q&A box, and our Beacon Council lead for event production, Christina, will assist with that as well. Moving forward, we will go through the agenda, and we're not going to use the raise hands feature, just to let you know about that as well. And please, we encourage you to use the chat box to just post that you're here. You can put your LinkedIn. So we'll use that as kind of the call out feature to have roll call, I should say. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ken Finneran, Vice President, Global Human Resources, Kaseya, and our new chair. Ken?
Christine, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it, and welcome everyone who's on the call to the first committee meeting of this tech committee of the Miami-Dade Beacon Council in the new fiscal year. I think it's fair to say that we can all acknowledge that we are living in very unique times with very unique challenges right now. And as such, this meeting is being done virtually. I think many of us have adjusted very well to the run of virtual meetings that many of us are on day in and day out. However, it is a challenge at many times to connect and to see raised hands or to immediately respond. So I did want to acknowledge that and encourage everyone to please use the chat feature. As Christine just mentioned, please feel free to also introduce yourself in that chat feature so that other individuals know who indeed is on the call. Those participants who have joined are automatically muted. Other panelists who will be speaking in the course of this meeting, please mute yourself if you are not speaking. And yet, I wanted to first and foremost convey my thanks to all of you who are joining this meeting. We know you're all very busy, but we are very excited about the year ahead and hope that you find this meeting engaging, inspiring, and informational as we look to the year ahead. So as Christine mentioned, my name's Ken Finneran, and I'm thrilled to be the chair of the Technology Committee for this coming year. As we get started, I want to give special recognition to three individuals as we proceed. First is to Mike Finney, President and CEO of the Miami-Dade Beacon Council, for his own leadership and vision, as well as thanking Mike for his active participation and many insights into many of our sessions that we've had as the Tech Committee. I want you to know, Mike, we greatly appreciate all of those things and appreciate you being here today. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge the great work of Christine Johnson, the VP of Innovation and Economic Development at the Beacon Council, that all of you know her tireless efforts and amazing work and partnership and assistance, not only for me personally, but for all endeavors related to the development of our robust tech ecosystem here in South Florida is nothing short of awe-inspiring. So Christine, special thank you to you as well. And then finally to Yuda Saydun. Yuda, as the immediate past chair, you've really set the bar at a very high level, and I can only hope to follow the great mentorship and the great lead that you've provided with your leadership, vision, and collaboration. So again, for all of the great work of the past year, I wanted to thank you. And that indeed should serve as a great segue, as I'd like to hand over to Mike Finn, President and CEO of the Beacon Council, for some special recognition of our immediate past chair, Yuda Saydun.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Ken, for the warm introduction and for the recognition, and welcome in your new capacity as chair of the Tech Committee. Yuda, boy, what can I say? You have been an absolute tremendous resource to us, and not just during your term as chair, but really since I've had a chance to meet you over the last couple of years, you have been as engaged as anyone in trying to ensure that we really focus on issues that can make a difference in this community as we continue to grow and prosper as a real tech player. Some of the innovations that have happened could not have been more timely, especially given this crisis that we're in, right? So we would not normally think that the Tech Committee could play such a significant role in helping all the small mom and pop shops that we have here in Miami-Dade County. But the reality is, one of the best innovations that came as a result of the connectedness of this Tech Committee was bizhelp.miami. It was a portal that was stood up with great support and leadership from the Tech Committee, and of course yourself, Yuda, that allowed us to reach thousands of small businesses in this community that we would otherwise not be able to touch, simply because we just don't have the physical people power to reach that many small businesses. But through technology, it enabled us to reach them and to triage their challenges and opportunities so that those who were eligible for some of the various loan and grant programs out there, whether it was the PPP or something else, they were able to much more efficiently review those opportunities, submit applications, and of course, receive the support they need in order to survive and thrive. And it was a very important tool for us, and it could have very easily not happened. And I think but for your leadership and this committee's focus, it probably would not have happened. The second one that I want to point out is even more interesting and exciting. It's because what happens next, right? A lot of folks lost their jobs in this community and are really needing to transition to other sectors if they're going to have economic viability in this community. And again, under the Tech Committee's leadership, MiamiTech.works was stood up. And it's not a tool that's strictly focused on the highest value, highest knowledge individuals in the tech community. It's focused on everyone. So if you're an entry-level person that's looking to become a tech worker, or if you are one of the highest skilled, most knowledgeable individuals in tech, if you're a company looking to identify tech interested workers, it's a great tool to allow that and then some. It brings together the individual, the academic community, the business community, and of course, the tech-focused business community in particular. And that's just a couple of examples of how you have had an impact, a significant impact on the innovation ecosystem here in Miami-Dade. You've challenged us with big ideas, and we still have Project Build that we know we need to move forward as the biggest of all ideas that came during your leadership tenure. And I just want to say again, thank you. Thank you for your support and leadership. We're not going to let you go away. Frankly, we're going to be looking for ways to get you even more involved in the various activities that we have going that's intended to move this community forward faster. So thank you again, Yuda. We really appreciate all that you've done, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you very much for those warm words, and thanks everybody on the call as well as on the committee who have participated. This has been really an awesome experience for me. It's exceeded my expectations. I can't believe it went so fast. I have to totally give all the credit to my partner in crime, Christine. She's an amazing dynamo. She gets things done, moves the needle. So, and of course, everybody, you yourself, Mike, for opening your guidance, your brainstorming, your leadership, bringing community leaders together, etc., involving the mayor's office. And also thank you and thanks all of the Miami-Dade Beacon Council staff, whether it's Christine, Yap, James, Christina, Crystal, Ken, himself as the new chair. It's been an amazing experience. So thank you all very much. And as you said, Mike, I came in and engaged on a limb, maybe a Don Quixote-like project, or you could say maybe it was a tiny mini moonshot sort of a deal. And you and the team embraced it and moved the needle forward on it. So I'm very appreciative and honored that you allowed me to participate in that. So thanks, Anna. And then when the crisis hit, I was totally so impressed about the way the entire Beacon Council, as well as the tech committee, just totally pivoted on a dime, took input, asked for input from the community, and refocused both on the relief efforts, which you led with the mayor's office, as well as the smaller projects of the impact theme that we then launched. So awesome. For me, this has been a proof that I've been involved with the Beacon Council on and off over my 30 years here, but this 3 years of personal involvement has shown me how much potential it has, how underestimated it is, and how much bigger it's going to become with this momentum. Also, looking back, I think it's like an iceberg, or that famous duck that looks very calm on the surface, but all the feet are moving underneath the water. There's so much happening, from Icon coming, SoftBank, GE, Blackstone, BlackRock, and so on and so forth. So there's stuff happening that nobody realizes the Beacon Council does. And so I'm really pleased, happy, honored for having participated, and I very much look forward to continue participating as much as possible. Thank you all very much.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Yuda. And Yuda, I believe that you have a box there, and we'd love to, this is part of that special recognition. We'd ask you to hold it until this meeting, but if you don't mind opening it up now and sharing with all of us.
So it appeared mysteriously, and thank you all very much. Let's see. Here. A nice plaque that's going to go on my desk and my shelf in the office. So thank you all very much again, and looking forward to supporting your successes, Ken, Christine, Mike, and everybody. Thank you all very much.
Thank you once again, Yuda, for all that you've done. Yuda, I think at this point, I'd love for you to maybe share a little bit about some of the initiatives that you had undertaken in this past year. Mike highlighted a few of them. We see Project Build up here already, but I would love for you to maybe share with the committee at this point the highlights and showcases of a lot of the great work that was done under your leadership. So if you wouldn't mind highlighting those great projects that you helped lead and run, that would be wonderful.
I just happened to be there at the right time, I guess. It's all very much of a joint result. And as I said, most of the credit goes to Christine, who's been an amazing partner from the very first conversations we had 3 years ago. So the first one you see there, Project Build, I think many of you have seen about it or read about it. That's the moonshot that we all launched into, and it was well on its way with great meetings, including those tech titans that Michael and Christine convened for a meeting at Manuel Medina's office in Coral Gables, where we had some of the top thought leaders of the county with us. And it was well on its way until we hit the wall. And I hope that maybe 8-10 months from now, we'll be able to rekindle that. But in the meantime, there's a lot going on that contributes to Project Build's overall objectives, which were also very much part of MDBC's objectives of economic development and talent creation, talent retention, talent development, and so on. There's a lot going on between several universities, TechWorks, the boot camps around here, so a lot happening. And in terms of economic development, also several conversations, lots of meetings, and that's what MDBC does best. So I think we had another initiative around engagement. Ken, that may be the next slide. Yeah, engagement, yes. So one of the things that we discussed from the very early days with Christine was, how do we get increase engagement so that the mission and the accomplishments of the Beacon Council get not only better known, but also even more supported by the community. And we started out with brainstorming sessions, inviting several tech pillars. Ken, you were one of the first ones on that group also. And the whole idea was to provide engaging, meaningful conversations around the council's objectives. And what you see here are three outcomes of the impact project. Michael mentioned the TechWorks, and we've had several presentations. I believe we'll have a few more words about it today. The social distance detector is an amazing new Miami created meaningful tool that's currently being expanded and offered and tested, piloted already. And I believe we'll have a few words about that a little later. It's just simple, it is secure, it is easy to deploy, and it is timely, relevant. And then the third one is a partnership between 3 universities, MDC, FIU, and the University of Miami, for a joint project to prepare a post-disaster resiliency playbook. And that's ongoing right now in terms of first step is going to be to organize a major meeting and then continue from there. So those are 3 specific outcomes of last year. And again, it would not have been possible without the whole committees, and in particular also Ken, who's been an amazing partner to make it happen and to support it and to provide his thought leadership, his time, and so on. So a couple highlights here. The first picture on the left is the day, I believe, exactly a year ago, where Louis Tribune, who started the AI theme actually before we continued it this year, was winding down, and I was stepping up. Another one, I believe, is at the Kaseya's offices, one of the meetings we had under your hosting and gracious invitation, Ken, and some great exchanges of opinions, of facts, presentations over there. The one on the left bottom is a meeting we had in North Miami, where Javier Villamizar from SoftBank presented their strategy. This was, I believe, possibly in January of this year, where they just announced a couple of months before that their big splash in Miami and had big projects going. So that was the update. And the last one here is at the Miaris offices on Brickell, where I was dialing in from California. That was another great meeting where several things result. Actually, I think that the collaboration between the 3 universities literally started at that particular meeting. So thank you all very much again. And thanks, Joe, for that invitation to that podcast of the South Florida Tech. Great highlights. I look forward to celebrating many more of the Tech Committee and the broader Beacon Council. Thank you all.
Yuda, once again, thank you and kudos to you. As we look forward to 2020, 2021, that fiscal year, part of this meeting is to present the vision. And as we just heard from Yuda, I'm fortunate enough to be able to, in many cases, continue and then capitalize on many of the themes that were already in place under Yuda's great leadership. And so you saw there, one of the themes that Yuda touched on on the second slide was around engagement. And that will remain one of the key themes. There are 2 key themes for this year. One is amplify, and the other is to engage. The 2 items carry, for myself, and I hope for many of you, significant meaning in the sense that it's my intention that we collaborate, highlight, and showcase Miami and South Florida and all of the great things that we have here locally in our tech ecosystem and all of the great things happening here while engaging our regional tech ecosystem partners, companies large and small. Certainly Mike Finney pointed out a few moments ago just how important some of the initiatives that this committee already has undertaken have been for many of those small and medium-sized businesses as they face this COVID crisis. But also to engage, equally important, the talent within this community, many of whom are looking to engage with companies, many of whom are looking for employment opportunities, many of whom are looking for further education, development opportunities, and growth opportunities. All of those are part of the vision ahead, and we will see those in the coming slides, how that will transpire. I'm thrilled that as we look at this journey, one of the partners that I'm proud to announce here to the broader committee is our new chair-elect, Juha Mikkola, co-founder and president of WinCode Academy. Most of you, I'm sure, know Juha, know of the phenomenal work that is being done at WinCode. WinCode for many years has been one of the pillars, the stalwarts of the South Florida tech ecosystem. And so when we talk about ecosystem development, when we talk about partners needed to help in engaging the broader community, there are few partners that I could have possibly envisioned to be a better partner in this journey than Juha and WinCode. So with that, Juha, welcome very much. I'd love to invite you at this stage to say a couple of remarks, maybe introduce yourself, a little bit about WinCode. I assume that most people already know the great work that's happening there, but feel free to share a few words about WinCode, and then also any thoughts you have around amplifying and engaging our tech community here.
Thank you so much, Ken. And yeah, what an honor. I mean, thank you, Mike, Christine, and everybody involved with the Beacon Council. This is super exciting for me and something that I'm really excited to work with you, Ken, and learn this year and really keep up the great work that we heard Yuda already highlighting, and a lot of amazing things happen. So yeah, my name is Juha. I'm one of the co-founders of WinCode, and we're a local coding bootcamp here. We're close to 1,000 graduates and nearly 500 different companies that have hired from our program, mostly South Florida natives working for South Florida tech companies. So it's been an amazing journey. Really great to see so many familiar faces on video and in the chat. It's awesome to see the engagement, even while we're doing this virtually. I think there's a lot of interest in that in this. And through WinCode, we've also started something called Win Talent, where we help place mid-level and senior talent as well. So we've been able to interface and work with companies on multiple different levels, which has been really great. And I just wanted to share a personal note why I'm so excited about this. My wife, Joanna, and I are the co-founders, and we chose Miami and South Florida for the reasons that this is an amazing place to build a tech company. It's an amazing tech ecosystem already. And I just want to share that passion and excitement that we've seen here from so many supporters with the broader community we already have here, as well as helping build that community and engage and get more people to realize what a special place South Florida is for technology. And there's so many people doing that work, and it's just really exciting to be a part of that. And I'm really just looking forward to working with you, Ken, and with Christine and with Mike, and learning from you guys and really helping amplify the amazing stuff that's happening here already. So really pumped for the year ahead, and thank you again for this awesome honor.
Thank you for those comments. Really appreciate it, Juha, and I too am very much looking forward to our collaboration. I want to echo perhaps one thing that Juha just mentioned in terms of his personal story. I have been here in South Florida for almost 15 years, the last 2.5 with Kaseya, and am amazed by just all of the things that are happening in this tech community, and how this community has rallied and really come together, not only during this crisis, but even previously, to achieve some things that many people, I would say, didn't think were possible. quite honestly. And there were, it was almost said jokingly around Silicon Beach in a joking fashion in the past when talking about Miami versus Silicon Valley. And yet, when we talk about the desire to amplify and engage, and we talk about Miami's growing tech ecosystem, you'll be hearing from some of those ecosystem partners, in addition to WinCode, of course, a little bit later today. And I want to thank all of them in advance for your participation, of course, for your collaboration, as well as your insights, because some of the stats that you see on this slide are already an acknowledgement of the great impact our collective efforts have already had. And yet, when we in the Beacon Council travels around the world, there is an acknowledgement for many of the great things that are happening here in Miami. And yet we oftentimes say to ourselves, we have a challenge to tell that story even more, to highlight it, to showcase it. And so one of the call outs and the challenges or calls to action that I would like to issue to all of us on this call is a collective call to action to make sure we amplify the tech community and the entrepreneurial efforts that are happening here, as well as the showcasing the success stories of companies that are achieving great things right here in our backyard. So as you see on this slide, and I think many of us know this already, the Kaufman Foundation Index, which ranks entrepreneurial activity, rated the Miami and South Florida region as the #1 region in startup activity. That goes to highlight just what a great foundation we have for tech entrepreneurship, and how can we continue to foster that. Also, we are rated as the #2 region in the nation for tech job creation. That should not go unnoticed, especially at a time like now when there are a lot of individuals who are looking to reskill and enter into areas such as tech where they see such a great future. Not only are these jobs at a higher average salary than most other industries, our industry is growing at a faster rate than any other of the target industries here in South Florida. So when you think about the One Community, One Goal initiatives, the tech industry is literally at the forefront of that, leading the development of Miami-Dade into the future. And of course, there are a number of companies that could be listed here. We mentioned only a few of them at the bottom, not only here in Miami-Dade, but even going beyond in that, such as Magic Leap up in Broward County. But that is also one of the key themes that, while yes, we certainly do want to highlight Miami and Miami-Dade County, we also want to highlight and partner with the broader ecosystem. And that includes our partners in Palm Beach, that includes our partners in, pardon me, the dog, as you probably just heard, just came down, so sorry if you heard the barking. And our partners in Broward County as well. So we will have, you will hear directly from them momentarily, but here is a snapshot of how this puzzle fits together, this innovation ecosystem. We have some of the best universities, many of which are listed here, many more in Broward and Palm Beach, that are absolutely amazing in terms of producing world-class talent. Yuda also highlighted some of the collaboration that is already happening between many of those universities. And you will see a little bit later and hear about some of the exciting work happening in the cybersecurity space right here in South Florida. our incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces equally a critical part of this infrastructure in this ecosystem, second to none. Similarly, the investors, we just heard about a major announcement from a company, an investor coming to Miami, setting up a major business here over the past week. And certainly we have the tech startups in the leaders, the companies, again, this just a smattering of them, but they go well beyond this. And I'm thrilled to see so many of those companies also represented here. But that also creates a challenge for us. Many of those companies are not yet on this call. And many of the affiliated companies, large companies with large tech infrastructures. And as an example, if we think about trade and logistics and the tech background, the tech infrastructure that a company like Ryder needs to have in place to do what they do, those companies are becoming more and more critical. And one of my objectives for this year is to engage more of those companies in these meetings as well, and in the great work of the Beacon Council. Beyond that, you'll see a number of companies listed at the bottom of this slide. And certainly these are initiatives that span a number of these areas, and I think create a true unique selling point for Miami. Just to highlight two of them, Emerge Americas, as I think all of you know, is the leading tech conference on the entire East Coast, in all of the Americas for that matter, happening right here in Miami. We're excited to have that back live and in person in 2021, if all goes well, fingers crossed. And certainly blockchain. One of the areas we know that Miami truly stands out in and has a leadership position in is in blockchain. That it feeds into fintech, it feeds into trade and logistics tech, it feeds into, of course, cryptocurrencies. Many of these areas are ripe for development, and it's an area, again, where Miami does already have a leadership position that we are going to be looking to amplify. If we can go to the next slide, this is a critical one that I don't think we've also done a good enough job historically at telling this story. We have 4 top-ranked research universities just in Miami-Dade. We have 375,000 college students in the region and 2,500 international finance and accounting graduates annually. I'm not going to read off all of those slides. You can do those yourself and see them there. We also have a very diverse population, and certainly as we see D&I initiatives becoming more and more crucial to talent, but the way that companies look at where to locate, this is going to become a very important competitive advantage, as it already is, but one that we can highlight even more moving forward. So the crux of this then is, how do we achieve this? And so when we look at Amplify Engage, the way that I think about how I would like to see engagement and involvement from the community, first and foremost, is through engaging members through committee meetings, but also subcommittee participation in meaningful subcommittee projects. Yuda highlighted some, as did Mike, some of the great work that came out of 3 subcommittees, some of which you will hear about in more depth as we continue today. One of the best examples is MiamiTech.Works, where a coalition of partners came together and in relatively short time period put together an amazing portal that brings together learning opportunities, coaching, talent matching, jobs for those seeking them. And I would encourage you to visit that site because it really is an example of just how innovative this ecosystem can be when we come together as a coalition of collaborative partners. Next is to involve new and existing members from key industry segments that where we here in Miami have key leadership already existing, such as cruise and hospitality tech, trade and logistics tech, etc. And then those USP segments such as blockchain, AI, etc. We definitely want to showcase and promote our unique collaborations, developments, and of course, all of the events around the tech area that are happening here in South Florida. So that goes to the university collaborations, the great work that are happening at the coding schools, etc. Of course, eMERGE and other conferences, all of those things we should be showcasing. We want to highlight the major announcements that are coming from established companies, such as the announcement most recently from BlackRock, but also Ultimate Kronos Group, which merged and has announced their rebranding, which will be a big success story here for all of South Florida. We also want to and will hear directly from the experts. So from CEOs and industry thought leaders, much like what was convened with Manny Medina, we're looking to invite Magic Leap's new CEO, engage BlackRock's leadership team for a special presentation, much like what was done with SoftBank last year, to continue to give this committee direct access to those CEOs and leadership. And then finally, we want to empower and enable talent to easily connect with our companies, connect with the community, to have opportunities for development and learning, but equally important, to have the opportunity to gain employment, have advancement opportunities within this sector locally. When I look at my engagement with much of the tech community even 5 years ago, there was still a lot of talk about how we develop a lot of great talent here in the community, but that how much of that would at that time would then migrate elsewhere to other parts of the country. With the ecosystem that we see already developed, and with the great work and the collaboration of many of you who are on this call, I am very confident about our ability to engage this talent and retain that talent here in our companies, in our tech ecosystem, as we look to grow and develop Miami towards an even greater future in tech. So with that, that is really the high-level overview of the vision for the 2020-2021 year. As I see it, there will be much more tactical descriptions around those elements as we continue throughout the year. But I welcome any questions that you will have around that when we get to the Q&A session. At this time, however, I'd love to hand over to Christine, thanking her, of course, for her partnership over the past year with the subcommittees, but also for her in advance for her continued partnership and collaboration. Yuda already mentioned it. You are really an unbelievable force, and a lot of the credit for the success of these initiatives really falls on your shoulders. So again, a huge thank you to you, but also to all of the industry spotlight partners that you will be hearing from here momentarily. We couldn't have achieved the success thus far without your engagement. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to Christine. Christine, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm not accustomed to being on the back end, so it's nice to see faces. So we'll jump right into it. We have industry spotlights that we'll have for these meetings, which I'm sure you're used to seeing some of these familiar faces and companies, and actually 2 of them are new to the community. So I will actually kick things off and turn things over to the 4Geeks team. Feel free to share your screen with your presentation.
Thank you, Christine. I just want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Bridget Schrader. I'm the head of partnerships and career support. I'm here joined by Anna and Marcelo. Thank you so much for the recognition. We just kind of wanted to touch base on the fact that we have helped the MTW in terms of building it through their actual website building with our team, as well as the marketing we have done. Anna and I have been in the front end for the marketing, and we've had our team with Alejandro and Marcelo build the website. So we're really honored to be a part of that. We want more people to be a part of it as well. So if anyone hasn't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out. There's a lot of really awesome things on there.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcelo Ricciano, CEO and co-founder of 4Geeks. I've noticed that we are getting the people that are leading the coding bootcamps in the city. We're lacking hair. We're getting bald. We're the only ones getting bald, and that's it's only you and I. That's weird. That talks about the job that we're doing. So I just wanted to take a few seconds to say that. Well, Miami Tech Works is also a great initiative. 4Geeks has been supporting and putting a lot of people working into it because we believe in the power of first building an ecosystem and then helping people getting a job that is actually meaningful and that can transform lives. You know, people actually need nowadays to get better and to boost their careers. In terms of 4Geeks, just wanted to say that well. We're part of the community. We're going to keep doing the job that we do. We are launching new programs. There's a new software engineering program to be launched this year, a new campus in Florida to be launched next year. We just closed a deal with the Inter-American Development Bank in terms of helping 300 students to get into tech next year in Costa Rica and Latin America. It's a great project, and hopefully we can do something like that in South Florida as well, because actually people need help. It's quite hard to go and stop everything that you're doing and get into tech from scratch. It's quite hard. So just want to say hi. We're here, and everything that we can support or be helpful, yeah, we're gonna be there.
Great. All right. Anna, did you want to say something?
Hi, my name is Anna, and I work at 4Geeks Academy. I've been in charge with Bridget and Christine of the marketing for Miami Tech Works. We have been working with a lot of partners to make this a social engagement and to try to help people to get to know the platform and to allow people to get jobs and upscale their lives. We have events that you can join us. We have a lot of career support events that we have been promoting alongside Miami Tech Works. And I just want to say it's been a great opportunity to help you guys through this platform. I think it's awesome, and it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. And I'm going to throw a question at you guys. So as far as 4Geeks Academy, what offerings do you have coming up? Any new courses or events that you have coming up?
Yeah, I believe we do. I don't know if Marcelo, do you want me to share my screen, or would you like to go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
Okay,
go
perfect.
ahead.
Give me a second. Yeah, I was just going to jump right into that. I actually don't have the one for our software engineering included, but that's actually something I'll touch base on really quick. So just give me 1 second. So I actually cannot share my screen on my end. For some reason, there's something blocking me from doing it. Marcelo, do you mind going ahead if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure.
I apologize for that.
Yeah, so we have at least a couple of events per month, 2 or 3 events open to pretty much everybody in the community. So we can actually share the links here during the conversation today. Programs are always open. The things change quite in a greatly manner due to COVID. So everything is pretty much upside down. And interesting enough, people are looking to change careers even more now than before. So there is a program always open every single month. So if either for the full stack, which is the beginner one, or the software engineer program, new upcoming cohorts are starting in November. So
Okay.
yeah.
Great. If you could share your URL in the chat as well.
Yeah.
We'll
I
send-
apologize for the mistake with the presentation. I usually have it set up for Zoom is blocking me for some reason. So I definitely will send all the information for cohorts that are coming up.
Okay.
It's all included in the brand new website that we just launched, by the way. So definitely check it out. And we'll send everything on the chat as well. So I apologize for the presentation, not being able to show you guys all our wonderful things that we have going on.
No worries, it happens. We'll send follow-up information to everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Now I'll kick the ball to Mr. Charles of strata.ai.
Hey guys, how you doing? First and foremost, congratulations to Ken, Juha, Christine, Mike, Yuda, anyone else that I missed, everyone that has supported us on the projects. Thank you very much. Super exciting. I didn't know if it was kosher for me to unmute myself and start clapping loudly so that you guys knew that I supported you guys. But I'm glad I saved that from happening. I hope you guys can see the presentation. Is that right? Okay, perfect. So a quick introduction. My name is Charles Irizarry. I'm one of the co-founders of strata.ai. Our primary focus is consulting and venture building on solutions that relate to decision science or technologies that relate to decision science, artificial intelligence, and extended reality. Typically, we like to focus and partner with larger corporations. So I'm happy to announce that we have partnered up with Televisa just a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be launching a brand new joint venture with them that's focused on computer vision, all in Miami. And very similar to many entrepreneurs or companies that are focusing a lot of their effort and resources into AI, there is a lack of talent. And so that's our biggest frustration and problem. And so like any good entrepreneur, when we get a problem, we like to solve the problem. And so what we decided to do was put together a curriculum and course to help us develop AI talent. Now, our focus here, and by the way, this came from Yuda. Thank you, Yuda. This is like last night at 5 in the morning, you sent me this article. That's just a testament to your dedication and how you're on top of the kind of everything that's going on. But we decided to, together with my co-founder Syed, who is a PhD candidate in applied AI, and he's also a professor and instructor at the University of Toronto, where deep learning was born. We decided that we want to build a curriculum to help us create the talent that we need, especially for the type of client projects that we have with Televisa, Boston Scientific, and others. We're not necessarily interested in creating a whole new other boot camp. I really want to keep my hair, thanks to Marcelo's note. And so we would much rather partner up with all the other organizations that already exist. They already have infrastructure, because we just want to produce as much AI talent as possible. A lot of these projects require many different teams. We have a team for computer vision. We have a team for the deep neural networks. We have teams that work on specific lighter end data science, machine learning algorithms, but we need more people, unfortunately. And so in order to scale rapidly and have these guys ready before the summer of 2021, we need to activate this across the board with as many institutions as we can. So we're working with a lot of local leaders. We're actually going abroad domestically. So we have a couple of boot camps that we're partnering up in North Carolina called Momentum Learning. We have a couple of others that we're talking to in New York. And really, we're just here to say, we're looking for partners to help us kind of expand the reach of our curriculum and deliver on that curriculum. We have our first cohort starting November 16th. And so I will put in the chat a link directly to the website where we published our full kind of curriculum, what's being covered, and people can begin to apply. We are partnering up with City of Coral Gables and others for scholarships. And so you'll be hearing a little bit more of that as we come along. And this is 80% scholarships for students to be able to take the curriculum part-time during the week, so it doesn't interrupt their schedule, but we can get them to a place where they can work with us and deliver on some of the tech solutions that we need to get done. A quick example, if you guys are familiar with the social distancing detector that Yuda had mentioned earlier, that's one of the projects that was produced by our last cohort of students that were working on it. So you're going to get to a place where, as long as you have a basic knowledge in programming, at the very least, it would be great if you had some experience in Python. We can get you from basic Python to practicing AI in production, and we're super excited to be doing that. So with that said, thank you again for the time, Christine, and thank you everyone for giving us a spotlight. And I look forward to networking and working with all of you.
Thank you, Charles, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Palm Beach Tech Association, Joe.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here in just a minute, but I'd encourage everybody, and we've been on the phone here for a minute, after an hour, I need to get a little stretched out, get myself woken up a little bit. So it's about that time. We're about an hour in. So I'm going to go share my screen and we'll be off to the races here. But thank you, everybody, for taking the time to be on the call today and talk about stuff that's really so important to me and all of us here. So my name is Joe. I'm the CEO of the Palm Beach Tech Association. I've had the honor of helping lead our tech industry here up in the North End for the past 5 years. And this past year, our board of directors actually unanimously voted on, and we announced we're expanding that scope from a county-wide organization to a regional organization. So you've probably started seeing a lot of our work and a lot of our efforts have been more regional in how we've been interacting, including some members of our board. We're really lucky that we actually got the better half of WinCode. We actually got Joe on our board of directors this year. So sorry, but we're doing a lot to engage the entire region right now. And thank you so much to Christine and her team for allowing us to share a little bit about what we're passionate about with everybody here. So very simply, our mission is to build South Florida into a tech hub. I'm sure we've all talked about that enough today, so no real need to hit on that highlight, but this is something I usually love to talk about because people don't realize the history of technology that's here. Some people have probably heard this before, but IBM, the PC, built in Boca Raton. One of our new board members, Pete Martinez, was actually on the team that helped build the IBM PC and then went on to actually lead the IBM R&D facility there. And in my hometown of Palm Beach Gardens, there we have Pratt & Whitney, which is the location where a lot of jet engines have been built, put on Boeing planes, military planes, everything else in between. So we have a lot of things here, but the way I like to say it is Pratt & Whitney built rockets that took the Apollo missions to the moon. So literally the tech industry in South Florida is out of this world. And my jokes don't get any better. This is the data point slide I usually like to hit on. This is from CompTIA. Our biggest proponent of anything is tech talent with our organization, and that's the #1 priority I have in my job, in my role. We are 19th by MSA, Metropolitan Statistical Area, in total tech employment, so just over 150,000 jobs. But that job posting number, that's 64,000, you'll notice there that's a 67% increase year over year, and the year prior it was over 100. So there's a high and ever increasing demand in tech talent here, and that obviously makes the work of WinCode and 4Geeks ever so important as we continue to grow. That tech employment number creeps up, but that job posting number exponentially grows. So this is something, if you'd love to learn more, you can Google CompTIA Cyber States, and there's some really interesting data there. But a little bit about what we do. We are a nonprofit organization. We have over 200 corporate members, including Fortune 500s like FPL and Office Depot. I love to say that the guys that keep our lights on keep us moving too. And we have a lot of other members like Digital Resource, Modernizing Medicine, and some others that folks may have heard of, but aren't so prominent. And we work with startups from 1 or 2 people all the way up to Fortune 500s, which is pretty interesting and pretty diverse. There's a few of our other members there. And these are our 3 core pillars: talent, brand, community. Talent, of course, education. How are we connecting talent back and forth? Brand, as far as the brand of our tech industry, and the community as far as interconnecting meetup groups, peer groups, software leaders, executives, things like that. And this is our leadership. Michael Fowler is our chairman. He leads the technology teams at Florida Power and Light, both in Miami and in Palm Beach. So he actually works on both sides of the region. Our co-chair is David Bates, who runs technology and entrepreneurial practice for Gunster. And our treasurer is Rich Veens, who serves as the CFO of Peak Activity. I'm going to skip a few of these slides just to hit on a few of our events here. We do tech talks, community coffees, podcasts, workshop, basically an event every single day. We encourage you guys to check that out at palmbeachtech.org. We're doing actually our hackathon this weekend. So that top picture there is from last year, top left. We had over 150 people in our room at Office Depot. Sadly, it's going to have to be virtual this year, but you can check in on that and see. I think we're expecting just about 100 people attending right now, which is pretty awesome. And if anybody wants to learn more about us, you can go to our website. We do have a Slack channel. That's one of the largest in the region that folks can join. And one of the cool things, in addition to some of the other talent efforts we have, is if those that are looking out there to get involved and become a member of the tech industry by a job, but can't really seem to break in, we have a resume distribution system on our website. So you can go in, put in your resume, it sends it to all of our member companies automatically. So that's another unique way we've been trying to help out. But I'll end by saying it takes all of us working together to really move the ball forward. And I really appreciate the work of Christine, Yuda, Ken, and Yuha in helping bring this group together and helping lead our industry. It does take a rather large village to make these big things happen. So thank you so much for allowing me some time to chat today.
Great, thank you for joining. Last but not least, we have Mr. Coddington to speak on Tech Gateway.
Thank you very much, Christine, and congratulations to you for an awesome year in your tech committee, and Ken for taking over, Yuda for your leadership in the past year. I think that, so good morning, everybody. My name is David Coddington. I'm the Senior VP for Business Development at the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. We're the economic development organization that represents Broward County, just like Christine does with Beacon Council and our other neighbors to the north and the Business Development Board. I'm also the facilitator of the South Florida Tech Gateway. I'll share the screen, and I'm sure that many of you guys have seen this. If it's going to work, share, there it is. So you've seen this, we're in the midst, this is the 2020. Obviously we're coming up to the end of 2020. You can go on the website at techgateway.org and see, and people ask, well, what is it about? Is it, you know, it's just a map. Well, actually it's so much more than just a map. If you think of it this way, regions are known by a name, a nameplate, a brand. They're not known by their economic development organizations or a conference that happens to be there, or a trade organization, or other things that are going on. Those are all awesome things, and it's better when we collaborate versus compete. They're known by a brand, a nameplate. So Silicon Valley more so than Santa Clara, Silicon Hills, Austin to San Antonio, Silicon Alley, Miami. And so when we started this 8 years ago, it was really by going out meeting with the technology companies and finding out what their issues were, and they shared those with us, and that ended up being this. And when we talk about South Florida and on the EDO side, the economic development piece, and in so many different ways, we talk about South Florida or Miami as a gateway to Latin America. Well, it's not just a gateway to Latin America, it's been a technology gateway as well, and that's where we came up with Tech Gateway. And then putting the power of all three names of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm on that. They all have great brands. And so it's about also just building that brand here locally, but building that brand nationally. And so last year for this effort, we did a 2-month digital push, and Boston and DC got over 1 million impressions on it, put 31,000 hard copies of this in both the Business Journal and both business journals in Boston and DC. And when that piece was about attracting talent as well as some of the companies and just getting us noticed. Starting next week, we'll have some radio spots on WLRN here locally to talk about Tech Gateway, to talk about some of the things that, like what Joe mentioned on the history. We talk about that all the time. From what we like to say, it's not that we're building it into, we've been a tech hub for 40 years, you know, going back to the IBM PC, the smartphone, and with Motorola and Boca and so forth. So what Motorola has done, what Citrix has done, what Magic Leap has done. I mean, creating technology that didn't exist. And that's pretty special. So moving forward, we're working on going outside of the area again. Until we were going to go after the talent with some of the main companies. commitments to go after when they're recruiting that talent from the top universities, making them aware of what's going on. But COVID hit, and so now we're trying to figure out how to pivot. But if you go on the website, you can download a PDF of this. We're going to be updating it. We do an update once a year for the hard copy, but we have digital versions on it that include, to the point that Ken was talking about earlier, large companies that have large tech departments like Royal Caribbean or American Express. American Express has almost 4,000 people out in Sunrise and a large tech department. So they're partners on this as well. If you go on the website, all those logos are activated. There, again, also academic institutions are on it, fast growing companies. So a lot of information, a job posting piece as well, links to all the partners between the BDB, the Beacon Council, Refresh Miami, Palm Beach Tech, Tech Lauderdale, and so forth. Tremendous amount of information on there. If you have any questions, please shoot us an email on that, and I'm happy to answer. But thank you very much for helping us all collaborate. Again, that message of collaborate versus compete. Yeah. And when we're all these rankings usually are in MSA. So it's usually Miami to Palm Beach or Miami to Broward or Broward to Palm Beach. And when we take all that and we look at it as a region, that's where the strength is. So it's awesome what's going on. I love hearing all the good things that are going on in Miami and across the region. So thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. So we'll transition now. Actually, I'll kick the ball back to our chair, Mr. Ken Finneran.
Thank you, Christine. Really appreciate that. I think now what we'd like to do is coming back to one of our primary themes of engagement, is to ask for some questions. We had some questions in the Q&A box or that were already posted there. If as I read out your name, I think Christina will be able to unmute you if you'd like to add any color to the particular question that was posted. Maria de Peña, it says that is not highlighted enough. How can this message be amplified? Can you give a little bit more color to the question that you're looking for us to answer there?
Good morning, everyone. This is Maria de Peña. I hope you can hear me. The question is related to the fact that we're number second in the nation. And when I go out, last year I went to the United Nations for an exhibit of one of our virtual avatars project supported by the Children Trust. And people don't know about our region, or the people that were there, which are international actually, did not know that we were second in the nation. So how can we amplify that knowledge, that information outside of the Miami area? Let people know that we're open for business, that we are as good as anyone else out there. So that's my question.
Hey, Christine or Ken, can I jump in on that just for a sec?
Please.
So to your point, Maria, that's what I just mentioned about doing that Boston and DC thing. And again, working together, pushing that message out there. We're so known for tourism, and it's a wonderful thing that we have it, and people want to come to both, to all three, the South Florida in general. But that message about how strong tech is just, it needs to be out there more. And it's a challenge with the funds. But, again, this year we're going to be going after that, and specifically going after that young talent coming out of the best universities and pushing that message along with those companies that are recruiting that talent. That's at least a piece of it, but it is a massive challenge.
I know the Beacon Council, definitely, we're working on how to really hone that message moving forward. Much of our work is marketing the business community in general, but through partnerships with, especially our international team does a great deal of work now. And I feel like the past year, they've really pivoted a lot more to have innovation as core to their work with the leadership that's in place with our team, with Mario Sacasa, also Diana Londano. They've really helped to emphasize the importance of tech as an intersection across markets as they travel with their missions. While we're virtual now, even at this point, I think about from August to now, they've had 3 different virtual missions to with various markets, one being Japan last week, by the way, to talk about tech in this community. So I think that this is a pivotal moment, and that when we talk about the tech and innovation ecosystem, I think all of us are really looking at new ways of amplifying the message. I think through Ken's work, David's been working tirelessly on this effort for many years, but I think he's pivoted a bit more as well. And so, yeah, we're tweaking and really moving forward with the messaging. And we have so many more stories to tell and companies to highlight too, as a result of even the past year. So I'm looking forward to the committee work this year, because we'll be able to throw darts at the board, so to speak, of ideas, and really be able to crank and lean in on the messaging and how to really get this right moving forward.
And just from my side, as a company, I think companies, all of us have a role to play here, because we all have various networks that we can share with. I know that we are attracting individuals, as an example, talent here to South Florida from the entire country, while also promoting, and especially now going into winter, we may be more aggressive than some other companies of having a message and posting in Boston, in New York, and Chicago, where it's freezing starting in November and for the next 6 months, and encouraging people to come work and live in paradise. And again, we are fortunate, as David said, to have a tremendous hospitality segment that is so strong here in South Florida. And that's where a lot of the promotional dollars have gone traditionally. But Maria, I think you're hearing, and I certainly concur, there's a lot that's happening right now talking about tech and getting to work. And I think the puzzle pieces that we saw earlier, I think goes also a long way towards that. We have all of the major players. We have an infrastructure that's built here in South Florida that rivals any other. And it is now up to us collectively to go ahead and continue to market that through all of our own networks, as well as through the official channels.
And the storytelling piece is what I'm most excited about, especially this year. But I will say, honestly, as a community, we're very bashful about shining a light on the work that we're doing, even as if with individual companies. You know, I think we need to be a little bit more, I don't know, just have more enthusiasm about our wins and share it with the world and not be as modest. So hopefully we can really, as a tech committee too, begin to grab hold of those stories and create a pipeline to kind of feed it out to the larger community in partnership with our marketing team as well, but also being able to feed content to the business community to amplify through their networks as well. So I just wanted to add that.
Perfect. We do have another question or a hand raised from Saif. Saif, if you'd like to go ahead and unmute and ask your question. Saif, can you hear me? Looks like you're still muted. All right, if not, then we'll, Maria Dreyfus had also posted a question stating, good morning, everyone. What are the challenges and opportunities post-COVID? Is there a directory of all the tech companies available in South Florida? Maria, anything you'd like to add in terms of color around those two questions?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Very excited to be part of this committee. I see how Christine has done a wonderful job of focusing the work of the committee. And I think this committee is going to be very, the work of this committee is going to be very important as we move post-COVID time. And I wanted, since I have so many people in different sectors, I wanted to get your feedback in terms of how do you see the role of the committee, the goals that you have stated, Ken, in these post-COVID times. What would be the challenges and what would be the opportunities in light of COVID? Also, right now, as a government agency, as a county, we receive a lot of delegations that come to Miami. It's not the case now, but I feel that after, probably next year, we'll start seeing influx of companies or delegations coming. And I always feel that it's hard for me, not being part of the tech community, to find out, a listing of tech companies available in South Florida. I know, David, you have the map, but for a lot of the companies that come, and especially from Latin America, I think it's hard for them to find the information of which companies are in Florida that they could partner, that they could do a joint venture, that they could explore business opportunities. So what are your recommendations?
Thank you. I'll jump in real quick. We in the past have had an Excel spreadsheet of all the tech companies in South Florida. As you can imagine, that becomes a challenge, and depending on what list you're pulling from. So our previous list had over 2,000, and it's an Excel spreadsheet you can download. We took it down, we have to update it. But if you compare cyber states, it says there's 9,000, and then MC's got 2,000. So it depends on what NAICS codes, but we're hoping to have that updated by the end of November. It does take a lot of work. Now all that will do is just give that information out there for folks beyond the 120 logos that are on the asset map. But that's a start. There would be a challenge for any of us to have relationships with 2,000 tech companies or 9,000 or 5,000. But that's at least a start where they can say, oh, wow, this company, and look it up and so forth. So it'll have the name of the company just like what it has it now, their website, local contact information, and so forth. So that's at least that's a pretty good resource for people to start from.
And I'd like to chime in on that too. And thanks, David, for everything you do. I don't think many people, that hear about Tech Gateway for the first time really understand the impact it's had, and how many people have seen that map over the years. But for me, coming at this, for the past 5 or 6 years, and some people have been in the industry and in the region longer, there's a lot. When we take a look at our 3 counties and, the 3 subsets of our regions, there's different pots of this information that have been collected. When David brings up the NAICS codes and the economic development, like how we bucket, like there's X number of technology companies, I don't really buy into some of that so much, so that, because most companies now are technology companies in some way, shape, or form. So even if you look at FPL, NextEra Energy, they're not a tech company, they're an energy company, but they employ more tech employees than most any other company in the region right now. I think they might be one of the most. But it really takes all of us to come together and say, how are all these different efforts intergrouping? So the companies can also have some interchange. The amount of companies and the list of them, I feel like probably David could have the most. But just to draw some comparison, if you look at the Technology Association of Georgia, where Larry Williams, who's the former head of Beacon Council, actually went to lead that organization. They have over 2,000 members in that organization, mainly based around Atlanta. And they've kind of centralized a lot of their intellectual capacity in the tech industry in that organization. So every region does it differently. And they also consolidate a lot of that information differently. So I feel like there's a lot of lessons learned that we can bring from other regions, and hopefully through avenues and discussions like this, be able to better ourselves and better our efforts.
And I'll just take a crack at the first question that you posed there. And it's probably more than we have time for entirely here in this session. You asked about the priorities. I think it's going to depend on who is accessing and looking for value from engagement with the tech community in terms of how I would answer that. When we look at talent, that can be, the answer will be somewhat different if it's someone who's out of a job looking for a job. Joe talked about their resume distributor. We have a number of companies and will likely be looking at putting together a hiring fair, a job fair of sort, virtual job fair in the future for the companies that are hiring, in fact. And that's in tech to promote what we are doing in the expansion of tech roles here within our community. Beyond that, we have MiamiTech.works, an engagement platform that gives them not only access to those jobs, to those companies, but also coaching opportunities through the likes of Benjamin Douglas's leadership, as well as other platforms to learn and grow at the likes of 4Geeks or General Assembly, WinCode, and others. So again, I think that's on the talent side. When we look at companies, it's a question of how do they promote, how do they engage, how do they tell their story to get some of that best talent, but also to showcase their services. And if we can enable them through an internal network of enabling them a platform for sharing their services to connect, much like what Charles just shared about Strata AI. Most of us probably didn't know until today what Strata AI even did here, and they're right in our backyard. And to give this type of a platform for him to share over 2-3 minutes, for us to then to connect to them, to do those showcases, that's another way. I think it was probably 2-3 months ago where Christine and Yuda had arranged a showcase of companies here in South Florida, both community organizations as well as companies, to share in basically 90-second spotlights, 2-minute spotlights. To do that and then to open that up to the broader community, I believe is one of the best ways to engage them, the entire community. So it's probably not as thorough as if we had more time, what we could go into, but those would just be some initial thoughts from my side is how do we engage the different constituents within the community. I don't know if Saif is still with us. Saif, if you are, wanted to try to go back to you. It sounded like you had raised your hand and may have a question that you wanted to raise as well.
Oh, I think he dropped off.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see if there are any others. I'm not seeing any in the Q&A. If anyone else does have a question, feel free to post it either in the chat or the Q&A.
There is one from Maria De Pena. She posted another one.
Yeah, this is for Charles. What kind of scholarships are available for your program?
Sorry, I turned on like 2 mics before I could speak. So scholarships wise, there's more rolling out probably post this cohort. The November 16th cohort is right around the corner. So the one that we're working with right now is with City of Coral Gables, and that's being used for employees of City of Coral Gables. There's a couple of other partners that are coming along who want to help others who either are looking to transition into the world of data science and AI, or in particular, one of the scholarships that we are working with is with employers where they want to upskill their own talent. And so the reason why we do that with employers is because the hardest thing to learn is the institutional knowledge of a company. So it takes sometimes years to really understand the inner workings. So to bring someone out from the cold who knows AI isn't as valuable as taking someone that already knows the company and then upskilling them to AI. And typically a lot of the employers take over that, and we help the project by identifying curriculum that we can customize for the company so that the company gets something very specific out of it. And that's typically the approach for right now. Does that make sense, anonymous attendee?
Okay, looks like it.
That sounds great. Yes. There's a question, not sure who the anonymous attendee is, but how is this committee engaging with startup founders and accelerators to hear how they need support? So I'll speak from my knowledge of the committee and the Beacon Council overall. One of the core areas that you saw in the puzzle were those incubators, accelerators, coding schools, et cetera. And those accelerators, for example, have Christine is in constant contact with many of them, and is really the conduit between both this committee, the larger Beacon Council, and the initiatives of those entrepreneurs. I think that too, when we look at future meetings of this tech committee, we want to have representation from all of those puzzle piece areas, if you will, represented. So if there is a CEO speaking from one of the leading companies, we also want to have represented the universities who are sharing some exciting initiatives from them, from the accelerator, sharing what's happening and I'll just say Endeavor, or one of things that happening at CIC or others in our region. All of those, what's happening there. It will also be a running list of events, but to understand the needs of the entrepreneurs, that's where we need the individual engagement, and that's where Christine's involvement as the liaison has been unbelievably helpful. Christine, anything to add from your standpoint, since you've been the closest to that?
No, that was perfect. To your point, and we're in constant contact with the accelerators, incubators, co-work spaces, code schools, the innovation economy. So we frequently find areas to support them or engage and just stay in the loop with their activities, because their win is our win, and we're able to use it for our marketing for the business community. So it's essential that we stay in the loop and have these relationships. So.
There was one more question then from Lacey asking if the subcommittees have been created. They have not yet. This was more presenting the vision initially, and then as we look to move forward, one of the next sessions, or potentially even a separate session, will look at what could those subcommittees be and what would have the most impact for our region. So stay tuned for that. Those will certainly be forthcoming.
Great.
All right. I know that we are coming up on time, Christine. I think there may be a couple of announcements. I know there's an important event coming up of the Beacon Council that we certainly want to highlight as well. So certainly thank you for all of the participation thus far. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Christine.
Thank you. Yes, the Beacon Council annual meeting takes place on October the 29th, next week. So we'll share the link in the chat, but we'll also send a follow-on email with information. It's actually presented by FPL in partnership with TD Bank. So that's important to note, these wonderful partners of ours that do a great deal to support our business community. October 29th, annual meeting, and that's where you'll get to learn about the projects that we've worked on as an economic development team, the completed projects for the year, as well as hear some closing words as we have closed out our fiscal year. So it's going to be great. It'll be virtual, but it'll be really cool. We're working hard to get a great deal of testimonials from the companies that we've supported. And so October 29th, and it's free, no cost. Okay, so we'll send, oh, thank you, Christina. Christina is part of she's actually the events lead. She's been coordinating everything on the back end for us for this event and all of our events. So we'll share information again in the post meeting email.
All right, fantastic. So with that, we've come up on time. Apologies for going over a couple of minutes. I appreciate everyone's engagement. And I look forward, thank you especially to all of those special presenters today. I really appreciate all of you being here. Kudos to all of you. And we will be sending out a letter as a follow-up to this with many of the links to all of those institutions and companies so that you all can continue to use them, access them to help amplify our messages, and then to stay engaged as we continue throughout this year. So with that, thank you all very much. All please be safe and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye now.
Bye.